did I think then, however, that the day would come when one of those good-looking kids would grow up and defame Orthodox Catholics as sectarian extremists. Hopefully he was talking about my brother. But the reason I point that out, and it's a little bit with what Art said, is that, you know, it would be naive for, I think, anybody to sit here and say that there aren't historical and long time reasons that there's resistance to what Art and Frank and now a lot of others are trying to do at the State House, and that there is that resistance. There are people in my party, high in my party, and obviously the governor who's not in my party, but who legitimately do not agree. I don't, by the way, you know, I like to have some fun at the governor's expense sometimes, but I understand his position, and I don't expect him to change his position on this issue simply because I differ with him. There are those in my party, including the Speaker of the House, who similarly don't agree with me or probably with us on this issue. But, you know, times are changing. And although Ken doesn't like to hear that, I think sometimes change has to be incremental. And I know I started in this position August 3rd of 1998, and we have come light years in that short period of time in terms of where we are in Rhode Island, where the legislation is. That's been helped by surrounding states who are ahead of us, but, you know, coming in last is not the best thing in the world, but if you finish the race, at least you finish the race, and hopefully that's what's going to happen here. There are changes that are occurring. I think elections, you know, have some input on that. And the only thing I would say is that people need to mobilize and organize, and elected officials generally listen to constituencies. You know, people frequently say, you know, well, the elderly, everybody caters to the elderly in Rhode Island, and senior citizens get whatever they want. And why is that? Frankly, the simple reason is because they vote. There's no you know, great rocket science to that. And I think that what I've seen on this issue as well, that there's been a tremendous movement in a positive direction, organizationally and otherwise, with people simply saying that we're not going to just sit by quietly and just be seen as second-class citizens anymore. And I think eventually that argument will win out. It may just take longer than we expect. The only thing I would say from a political standpoint is that people here and your friends and people across the state, we're almost into another election cycle. People should know and ask where candidates stand on these issues, because they are important. You know, people have said to me numerous times, who cares, it's not one who the governor is.
Call you on time.
Let me say one last thing. Who cares who the governor is, and what difference does it make if he appoints judges? It doesn't affect me. I'm trying to work, I'm trying to pay my bills. You know, if we had had a different governor, any one of the last two Democrats, the Supreme Court in Rhode Island would have probably had a different makeup, and I would suggest that the decision that we saw recently would have been different. So it does matter, and people need to remember that.
Thank you. Sure, I have a question for you next. You can just wait till I keep going. So, following up on that, I would like to say that you know, we are talking about a political issue here, and Jim, I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about the role of religion in support and in opposition to marriage equality legislation.
The position that I and my colleagues take is that we appreciate that there are a large number of Roman Catholic legislators, and there's no way that we want to talk them out of believing what they believe. What we want them to do is to not impose Roman Catholic dogma on the rest of us. That if a Roman Catholic dogma, there's a whole list of folk that the Roman Catholic Church will not recognize, will not allow marriage. If the state adopted those rules, there's a lot of people that I would not be doing marriages for, including people who are divorced and remarried. There's a whole list. At this point, thank God for Connecticut and Massachusetts, because if I want to do a marriage, I just cross the river. But I don't want to keep doing that. So it's you know, the Roman Catholics believe what they need to believe, but it is ironic that in a state that was founded by a congregational minister, that a congregational minister is saying that my religious freedom is being
That's what I meant too by saying, there's lots and lots of Catholics I think that understand that this is not, that the Catholic Church is not set law, nor does any other church for that matter. Nobody's saying that you have to be official on Friday under state law. Nobody's saying that you can't mix dairy and meat together in your eating behavior, and none of those things should be part of a state law. It's about the separation of church and state really does. And that's why I think a lot of my constituents are Catholic. Do think this is a good idea. However, the legislators are of a different mindset in some cases.
I do believe, like Jim said, things are changing. As people get to know who we are, who the gay couples are, what it's all about, our support has grown. It's grown in the last 5 years that we've had marriage equality, that we've actually been working, advocating for it and educating people and reaching out to the communities. It has grown. The number of sponsors in the legislation has grown. I'm really excited because I think we're going to do it in the next 2 years. I really do. I think there's going to be a change of, the government is going to change, and the speaker's going to change, and the president of the Senate's already changed. And I think, we talked about religion, and the other thing I think what religion has was, first of all, my personal experience, when I first went into a gay bar and I saw 2 guys dancing, and I'm gay, I felt uncomfortable. So I always try to put it in perspective. If I thought that was uncomfortable back then straight couples who just think marriage is a man and a woman are going to be uncomfortable at first. And so as we keep reaching out, we keep going into the community and educating, and they know who we are, that has changed. We talk about the Catholic Church because it's the majority in the state, but I mean, they can preach from their pews. That's what the advantage they have. They've been preaching from their pews. They tell them that we're evil, that we're sinful, and that we're going to hell. And so those people, it's fair in the unknown. But as we keep reaching out and we keep advocating and we keep giving more support, then our support has grown, and the way they thought is changing. So I think it's just taking time, because you have to change the culture and the way people are thinking, because it's the way it's always been. That's what I think.
Thank you. Now, I grew up in Pennsylvania, which Arlen Specter's side is a state where your party affiliation certainly has a clear dictation on what sort of policy standpoints you will have. Rhode Island is overwhelmingly Democratic, and Chairman, I'm wondering why this is not a party issue here, or why we are not seeing more push from the party to take it up as a plan.
Well, I would say 2 things. First of all, I think to dovetail with what Frank and I have said, the issue is changing not only in Rhode Island within the party, but also nationally. I said earlier I took this job in 1998, and that was under President Clinton. And I developed a good relationship, frankly, with the Clintons, and have maintained that over the years. And I've had the opportunity, going back that far, to discuss this with him. And I also always had a certain amount of disappointment in President Clinton until recently. I don't know if people have noticed, but within the last week or so, President Clinton has now publicly said that he has rethought this issue, and he's frankly changed his mind, and he thinks that gay marriage is something now that should take place, although it should be left on a state-by-state basis. So I think those kinds of changes are, although they don't seem like much, are monumental within the political establishment, and I think that they send shockwaves at times, including here in Rhode Island. Now, the more pointed answer to your question is that there are those who have been elected, and they are, with the exception of the governor, obviously, Democrats who are in positions of high authority, who Art and Frank and others deal with daily, who do not agree with me or with us on this particular issue. I mean, that, and I had this discussion with Ken and others, that's our system, and I don't think that our legislative system or our way of electing people is going to change in my lifetime. So